Star Wars is still probably one of the biggest franchises in the world, with movies, TV shows, and yes, video games as well. That's the focus of this video, the video games, and more specifically their achievements/trophies. We're gonna look at the rarest one from every single game. That has trophies/achievements. Quick bit of admin and then we'll jump into it. We're going to look at PlayStation trophies primarily, and then if a game isn't on PlayStation, we'll look at Xbox, and if it's not on either of those, we'll look at Steam. No mobile games because I just don't want to. Don't moan about console war rubbish in 2026, please and thank you. Sometimes multiple trophies show the same percentage, so where that happens, I will look at other trophy tracking websites such as PSN profiles so we have one definitive rarest for the video. The order of the list is by the initial release date, and so with that said, let's kick this off with Super Star Wars, Master Jedi 1.3%. We begin with a game originally released on the SNES. This trophy needs you to beat the game on the Jedi difficulty without losing any lives. Now this is obviously a challenge, the difficulty only really affects the amount of damage you take, but still, more damage does make the game harder. You can do a few things that make your life easier though. First, save your game after every level or difficult section. This will save you just so much time. Also, you can use character select cheat codes to give yourself the better characters. Really though, this is going to be difficult no matter what you do, but by abusing the save feature you can at least make it so that you only have to beat a difficult section one time. A moment of silence for those who played this in the 90s and did not have this luxury. I salute you. Star Wars Dark Forces. Don't mock me, 20.6%. This one's pretty simple. Most of this game's trophies are for mandatory story objectives, and the ones that aren't are typically along the beaten path anyway, and so the rarest, as you'd expect, is for just beating the final boss of the game. As such, I don't really have a lot to say on this one. You can make this dead easy by using cheats like invulnerability and all weapons, as they don't disable trophies, but as you can see by the percentage, it's obviously not one of the harder games to 100%. Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. You came, you looked around, you bought. 12.7%. This one is for purchasing all the best upgrades for your pod racer. In total, these will cost you 73,900 Trugnuts. The best way to get Trugnuts is to win races with the winner-take-all setting on for maximum profit. Alternatively, you can get the parts damaged from the junkyard, and then after completing a race with said damaged part, your pit droids will fix it, netting you the best part for a fraction of the cost. Realistically, a mix of both these methods is probably the best way to get all the parts. You don't have to just stick to one. You can mix and match to do whatever is most convenient based on your money count at whatever point of time you're at. Star Wars Episode 1 Jedi Power Battles. Unlimited Power, 8%. This needs you to complete Level 14, Survival Challenge. What this level is a square room where you are tasked with defeating 100 enemies with only one healing item. A daunting task to be sure, but one that can be made significantly easier by doing every Call of Duty player's favourite. That's right, it's time to camp in a corner. Simply pick a blaster character, hang out in the top corner and shoot. You might get hit a few times, but this by far seems like the quickest and easiest way to get this done. Star Wars Demolition. Target Practice, 4.1%. This is a character and map specific trophy. While playing as Aura Singh, you need to use the sniper rifle to snipe 3 nests on Dagobah by fully holding down R2 until she pulls the sniper out. This one is honestly pretty self-explanatory. The only additional thing you can really do is turn off the auto-aim to make it easier to aim at the cocoons and not the enemy that's somewhere else on the map. Star Wars Racer Revenge. Podfather, 0.3%. This trophy is for unlocking Darth Vader. To unlock him, you just have to win every race in tournament mode with either young Anakin, Watto, or Darth Maul, but only after unlocking all 3 of them. This is one of those cascading trophies, because those 3 have their own fairly difficult unlock requirements. Darth Maul is for beating the KO record on every single map, young Anakin is for beating the lap record on every map, and Watto is for beating the 3-lap record on every map. And some of these are really tight. If you've ever done time trials in any racing game, you know how tight these top end times can be, and it's no exception here. In fact, the difference in percentage between people that have unlocked young Anakin and those that have unlocked Vader is only 0.02% on PSN profiles. I think this makes it pretty clear that the Darth Vader portion of this is not the hard part, despite it basically being forced to be the rarest trophy. Star Wars Jedi Starfighter. No small task, 0.1%. No small task indeed, as this trophy needs you to clear every single main objective and bonus objective in the game. This does not need hidden or 2-player objectives, as those have their own trophy, which is about the same rarity as this one, like it's really close. And the reason for that though is that this trophy needs you to also do the main and bonus objectives for the bonus missions, which are unlocked by doing the hidden objectives. And to add on to that, you also need to do the main and bonus objectives for the 2-player bonus missions. So mandatory co-op as well. To make unlocking all this even more of a pain, the hidden missions are, well, they're hidden. They don't tell you what they are in-game. Of course, all of this is documented online, but not everyone will want to look this up. But I really do recommend it though. One silver lining is that you can do all the objectives on the easiest difficulty, meaning you can just beeline only main objectives when on harder difficulties for those trophies. You may notice I haven't actually mentioned any objective in particular, and that's because of being able to do them all on easy mode, which I just mentioned, but also because in research there's not really any that are standing out to me as especially difficult. Some people were saying that the 2-player objectives were hard to complete solo, but yeah, it's designed for 2 people. Of course it is. Ask a friend to play with you. What's wrong with you? Star Wars Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast. Force Sight, 1.6%. For this achievement, you need to find all the secrets. Way I see it, you've got 2 ways of doing this. You either collect all of them as you go through the game normally, potentially while following a guide, or the other option, you use the game's level select and no-clip cheats to fly through levels straight to all the secrets. Only thing to note for this one is that picking them up with cheats active will not count, so you need to turn them off, save your game, quit to menu, and then reload that save, and then pick them up for it to count. That is a lot of rigmarole you'll need to go through every time, plus it's not really in the spirit of the game, but up to you which way you'd prefer to do it, I ain't gonna judge. Star Wars The Clone Wars, View My Secrets, 3.4%. This is for viewing 2 bonuses, the unit viewer and the making of. How you unlock these is by clearing 30 bonus objectives in the campaign missions. These are generally finding collectibles or defeating extra enemies. Simple tasks like that. Another great thing is that there are 48 total bonus objectives, and like I said, you only need 30 of them, so if you average let's say 2 per mission, you'll get them easily. The game also has a level select, so if for some reason you don't have enough after your first run, you can just load up whatever mission you need and get some that way. It's very generous. After doing them, it's just a case of watching the 2 bonuses for the trophy. Star Wars Bounty Hunter, Non-Lethal Force, 2%. For this, you need to capture every secondary bounty in the game, of which there are 150. How you do this is by first scanning every single person you come across to check if they are the bounty targets. Then you use the whipcord to tie them up, followed by collecting the bounty. Now this sounds like an incredibly tedious way to play the game on its own, but it actually gets worse. First off, if any of the targets happen to die, you will need to restart the whole level, as loading from checkpoint keeps the state of the level as it was before, which is weird. If enemies could only die from you shooting at them though, that would be one thing, but they are also incredibly susceptible to friendly fire and falling off of things and blowing each other up and things to that effect. Things that can really hardly be your fault. Adding on to this, all the targets in a level must be captured in one go. You can't say get 3 on your first run, then replay it and get the remaining 2 that you missed. It doesn't work like that. That is a lot of things to keep track of, making for a finicky, somewhat frustrating trophy. Star Wars Jedi Knight Jedi Academy, Duel of the Fates, 0.9%. This is one of everyone's favourite type of trophy. That's right, it's a multiplayer trophy. What this one needs is for you to win a power duel, well, as the sole player. This mode is a 1v2 and you need to be the one. To win the match you need to get 20 points, aka 20 rounds. Now trying this legit sounds like a nightmare to be honest, you'd have to be really good at the game. Boosting it is probably the way to go nowadays. Only 2 other players is not likely that hard to find, but isn't going to be up everyone's alley, so it makes sense why this is the rarest, and like I said, legit sounds near impossible even when the game was populated. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2 The Sith Lords. I Hate Everything About You, 1.6%. I'll start by telling you that the first KOTOR game does not have achievements on Steam or anywhere else, so it's not on the list, saved your comment. This achievement though is for having any companion's influence be reduced to 0. Generally this is done by making choices in dialogue that they don't approve of. Can't speak for anyone else, but I typically go for things that the companions will like when I play, often foregoing whatever alignment I've decided to go for in the process. I think influence is more important due to the benefits you can get from it. With that in mind, it makes complete sense to me why this is the rarest. You're unlikely to keep making the choices unintentionally, and if a companion is really anti whatever you're going for, chances are you're just not going to bring them. It's not exactly difficult to do this. Kreia is famously antagonistic. Seems like whatever I did, she'd have something to complain about. Just be altruistic and reject her guidance, and in no time at all, I'm sure she'll hate you. Star Wars Republic Commando. We got a nest here, 4.4%. This one needs you to destroy all the eggs on Geonosis. Specifically, this is in the third mission where you infiltrate the droid facility. How this works is that if you get too close, the eggs hatch and you fail the trophy. How you do this is by shooting them from a distance. First in the tunnel before entering the egg room proper, and then once all the ones you can see are destroyed, you can progress a bit further in. Might be best to use a guide that shows you where all the eggs are, just so you don't accidentally progress too far and trigger them. Only other thing to note is that it might be best to have your allies secure an area behind you so they don't enter the room and hatch the eggs themselves. Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection. Unlock the vehicle regen bonus, 1.8%. Definitely one of my favourite childhood games. Actually two, I played both of these. The Rarest trophy needs you to reach a legendary technician status, aka get 64 technician medals. How you get technician medals is by slicing into enemy vehicles as an engineer character. The only downside to this is that you can only get one medal per life, meaning that once you have sliced the vehicle and got the medal, you will need to die or just respawn yourself before getting another one. It is just a case of doing that 64 times though. If you want to make it even easier, you can use cheats like invincibility so you don't even need to worry about getting stepped on or rolled over. I'm only now realizing how many of these games have cheats, and that most of them don't disable trophies, so even if you're bad you can get a lot of these. LEGO Star Wars 2, the original trilogy. Death Star 2 undefeated, 1.44% on Xbox 360, and Golden Return 3.2% on PS4. Now you might be confused as to why I have two listed, and it's because of a technicality. You see, the PS4/5 version is actually a port of the PSP version, whereas the Xbox 360 version is the main version released. Now I don't know if there are major differences as far as actual game content goes with the PSP version, but I can tell you that the trophy/achievement lists are completely different, so you're getting both. Aren't you lucky? We'll start with the 360 version, where the Rarest needs you to beat the Death Star 2 level without dying or using extras. This is the final level in the game, and it's a vehicle level, which is significantly harder to stay alive in than the regular levels, as you can't just use a saber to deflect shots. Most you can do is like not pick up heart drops if you're on full health. It is at least a short level, but even then it's a real trial. Much harder than you'd expect from a LEGO game. The other version's Rarest is for getting all 99 gold bricks, which is basically 100%. All levels, True Jedi on story and free play, all regular and blue mini-kits, super story, and the character and mini-kit bonuses. It's basically do everything, which I'm not going to go in depth on, mainly because LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga, 100%, 1.5%. You'll never guess what this is for. Obviously, it's for 100%ing the game. LEGO game 100%s haven't changed too drastically over the years. I'm going to boldly assume that you have at least some idea of what to do. But to just list everything out, complete all stories, collect all mini-kits, collect all gold bricks, collect all red bricks, buy all characters, tips and extras, collect all blue mini-kits, and finish all super stories. Now that probably sounds like a lot, and it kind of is by LEGO game standards. It's twice as many levels as the original trilogy after all. I think you're looking at a minimum of 4 playthroughs of each level, potentially more if you don't play super optimally. Unlike later LEGO games though, there's not a big open world to worry about. It's just a small hub with a shop, so most of your time will be in the actual levels. Just generally, after you beat the game once, you should have all the abilities you need to get all the collectibles, so then it's just a matter of getting them all. Make sure to get the score multiplier bricks as early as possible to multiply your stud count and make it easier to buy everything. It seems a lot, but people have done it in under 24 hours. It is a LEGO game after all, they're not known for being hard. Star Wars The Force Unleashed. Jedi Master, 1.1%. This actually comes from one of the DLCs for the game, the Jedi Temple one, which is probably my least favourite. The trophy is for beating it on the Sith Master difficulty, the hardest. It's not especially long, but the difficulty trophies don't stack unfortunately. Because of this, you have to replay it a bunch. Or do you? You see, there is a trick to where you only have to replay the final stage of the boss. After beating it on, let's say, easy, you can wait for the trophy to pop, immediately go to options and change the difficulty. This trophy is for Sith Master, so let's say you change it to that. Then save the game and return to menu. Continue that save and you'll now be on the last stage of the boss on the new difficulty, and beating it will unlock the trophy for that newly selected difficulty. Is it a bit cheap? Maybe, but come on, most of these games have some cheap thing you can do to help yourself out. Star Wars The Clone Wars Republic Heroes. Can't touch me, 2.1%. This is for defeating the boss Kolteska without either player dying. So first, absolutely use 2 controllers here. If the AI dies, that'll void the trophy. So you're better off even just using both controllers yourself if for some reason you can't find someone to play with. This boss can kill you decently quick, but the more likely cause of death is gonna be from falling off the platforms from dodging attacks. There is something you can do to make it easier, and once again, it's by buying the invincibility cheat. You have to buy it separately for each player, so it is fairly likely you'll only have it for one, but babysitting one character is a lot easier than 2. You can also go out of your way to farm points to buy it for the second player as well, at which point your only concern should be not jumping into the abyss. Star Wars The Force Unleashed 2. Never tell me the odds, 1%. Similarly to the first Force Unleashed game, this is also for beating its DLC on the hardest difficulty. You need to beat the main game on this difficulty first, so at that point you're likely a veteran and shouldn't have too much trouble. As far as I'm aware though, there's no skip or exploit like the first game. You're gonna have to rely on your skills to carry you through this short romp through the forest moon of Endor. And you can choke some Ewoks, which I think is pretty therapeutic. I did not like Return of the Jedi that much. LEGO Star Wars 3 The Clone Wars. Lando Calrissian, 2.4%. This one needs you to land any ship with Lando. Sounds easy, but there is a bit more to it, and the reason for that is that Lando is actually a mini-kit classic character. So to unlock him, you need to collect all 10 mini-kits on the level Shadow of Malevolence. After that though, it is just a case of using him on any level where you can land a ship. It is kinda weird that this is rarer than the 100% as it's such a minor task, but I guess getting 100% is something that is kinda fun casually, whereas this is something you'd only really do if you were going for the platinum. Star Wars The Old Republic. Elite Warlord, 0.7%. The Old Republic is an MMO, which is a type of game which are known for the large amount of time you're expected to put into them. For achievement hunters, this can be very concerning. This game's rarest achievement is Elite Warlord, needing you to reach Valor level 100. Now Valor is tied to the PvP aspect of the game, and level 100 is the max level. Now ignoring the fact that a good number of players might not want to do PvP at all, other than Valor boost events and stuff to that effect, all you can really do is play PvP matches over and over again and eventually get this. And I do mean eventually. I found posts estimating that it would take over 400 hours to reach level 100. To be clear, that's not total game time, that is time only spent grinding the PvP for the Valor levels. Now I'm no stranger to grinding, but even I look at this with just confusion and disdain. Level 90 to 100 also massively ups the numbers from before, so you don't even have that feeling of almost being done. In fact, getting to level 90 means you are just over halfway. Ridiculous. As I said, there are boosts that make this quicker, but these seem to mostly be bought with real money, which again, not everyone is going to want to do or be able to do. This is probably the longest trophy on this list, and likely by some distance too. Really not surprised it came from the MMO though. Connect Star Wars. Only a Master of Evil. 0.17%. Is it bad that I think this is one of the most memorable Star Wars games? It's literally just for that Han Solo song, but memorable is still memorable. Unfortunately, our rarest trophy does not take us there, but instead to the Darth Vader duel, and you need to defeat him within 59 seconds for the Jedi Master rating. Seems like you need to dodge and parry to get longer attack sections so you can do more damage. Now, I've never played this game. In fact, I've never used the Kinect, but I've heard the horror stories. I don't think just watching a video of this really does justice for how tight this is. Even achievement guide runs, which to my eyes look absolutely perfect, only have about 2 to 5 seconds remaining. I don't even want to imagine how much practice went into that, especially if for whatever reason the Kinect just doesn't feel like cooperating that day. Star Wars Pinball. I Rebel. 0.3%. Pinball is pinball. You can basically slap any franchise onto a pinball table and call it a day. This trophy is for finishing all story missions in the Rogue One DLC table. These are essentially small tasks you need to do on the pinball table and are triggered by hitting the lights in the center of the table. There are 10 different missions and they all basically need you to send the ball to specific spots on the table. Like one mission spawns cutouts of people that you have to hit a few times with the ball, another needs you to send balls up the ramps around the stormtroopers that spawn in the middle. Each task isn't too bad on their own, but it's still pinball, right? You know, sometimes you're going to be slightly off or something unforeseen could happen. Angry Birds Star Wars. Path of the Jedi, The Force, 0.3%. Almost forgot this one. I was too busy focusing on the Angry Birds part of the title and not the Star Wars part. This trophy needs you to get 3.25 million points total on Path of the Jedi. This has 40 stages and is based on the Dagobah section in Empire Strikes Back. Reading up on it, this seems pretty difficult. This isn't just a case of getting 3 stars on every stage. I couldn't find the exact score requirements for all the stages, but I found enough posts moaning that that wasn't enough. A lot of the advice I see is to follow YouTube guides for exactly how to do it, which is obviously not going to appeal to everyone. Now, I've never actually played any Angry Birds game ever, but guideless, this seems to be a lot of trial and error and repeating levels to raise your score tiny bits wherever you can. With a guide, it would just be a case of following along well enough. Those guys had to do it blind though, so say it with me, thank you guide makers. Star Wars Battlefront, Master, 0.2%. Starting what I consider the modern stretch of Star Wars games is EA's Battlefront. This trophy needs you to beat the battle missions, hero battle missions, and survival missions on the game's hardest difficulty, Master. There are 4 maps per mode, so 12 total missions. The 2 battle mission types are similar to Kill Confirmed, and must be played solo, while survival can be played in co-op. All these missions can be a struggle on the hardest difficulty due to how brutal the enemy AI can be, and basically need you to be good at the game just at a base level. Some of the heroes have healing though, which can help, like I think Leia does as an example. I didn't actually know that the game had any offline content, so just because of that and its supposed difficulty, it being the rarest makes a lot of sense to me. LEGO Star Wars The Force Awakens. What he was programmed to do, 1.4% for PS4, and the Force is strong with this one, 16.3% for PS Vita. This is another one where the 2 versions have different trophy lists, so you're getting both, even though I am not entirely sure on the difference between the 2 versions themselves. To start with the Vita version, the rarest is for getting 100%. This needs you to beat all levels, get True Jedi in all levels, unlock all red bricks and characters, get all gold bricks, and beat all hub world missions and find their collectibles. Not gonna go through the exact methodology for that, it's a LEGO game, you know the gist of it. The PS4 rarest is in the DLC level The Phantom Limb. What you need to do is defeat all the little spider dudes as the character PZ99, or PZ for the Americans. Very simple, and to make it even easier, it is, I guess, just the total number of enemies, so say there's 8 on the level, right, and then you defeat 5 with him on story mode. When you then load up free play, the trophy should pop after defeating only 3 more, you don't need to get them all in one playthrough. Which is handy, and significantly easier than 100%ing the whole game, I'm sure you'll agree. Star Wars Battlefront 2, The Bomber, 0.6%. This one can only be gotten in the Starfighter battles, so Starfighter Assault mode mostly. You need to defeat 50 enemies with the bomber ship's torpedoes. They're not a guaranteed kill or anything, so you might need to whittle enemy health down with other weapons first. Obviously that carries the risk of destroying them with that rather than the torpedoes, which is not helpful for the trophy. These don't have to be players though, you can destroy the AI, which is likely the much easier choice. Star Wars Droid Repair Bay, Lightning Reflexes, 1.6%. This is a free VR game where you fix droids. This achievement needs you to manually catch every repair part that the little blue droid spits out for you to fix the other droids with. Being a VR game, you can position your hands closer to the hole for a better chance of catching them, but it is really a case of practice. There are 5 segments you need to do, with the second and third spitting out 2 parts in very quick succession. Either use 2 hands or quickly drop the first after catching it for these. Very easy to mess this one up, and to make matters worse, there's no quick restart. You need to exit the whole game and reload. It's not an especially long game, it's like 10 minutes or so. But still, if you're repeatedly messing up, this could get very annoying. Vader Immortal, Episode 1, Sith Lord, 0.4%, Episode 2, Sith Lord 2, 1.1%, and Episode 3, Sith Lord 3, 1.1%. Each episode does have a unique list, but I'm just going to bundle them all together as they all basically need the same thing from you. That being to get 120 commendations in the Lightsaber Dojo in each episode. Each level of the dojo you can get between 0 to 3 commendations. This is based on damage. If you get hit, you lose commendation even if you would have gotten 3, so you need to know damage everything. It's otherwise based on time, or amount of kills for the Unleashed levels. Only other thing to note is that you only need 120 commendations per episode. So yes, this is all of them in episode 1, but episode 2 has a total of 150 and episode 3 is 142. You don't need all of them in those episodes, which does give you a bit of leeway for the trophy and might be why those two have a slightly higher percentage. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, not so fast, 3.8%. This one needs you to defeat 25 enemies while they are under the effect of the empowered slow force power. Once you use this on an enemy, the unfortunate thing, and likely the reason this is the rarest, is that one hit will remove that state from them. meaning that you need to ensure you can reduce their health to 0 in one hit after using it. This is one of those I doubt people would get if they aren't specifically going for the trophy, because if you can get them to the point where one hit will kill them, you're unlikely to waste time using the ability, you're just going to be done with them. 25 enemies isn't too many though, so maybe it's more likely than I think it is. Star Wars Squadrons. Ultimate Weapon, 0.1%. This game has a lot of trophies in the 0.1-0.2% range. It was really close, but the rarest is Ultimate Weapon, needing you to destroy a whopping 1,000 starfighters in dogfight matches. Woo boy, that's a big number. This is a grind, plain and simple. To give you an idea, I found one post claiming they averaged about 13 kills in one match. And that was probably when the game was more populated, because yes, this does need to be in a public lobby, thank you for asking. Not a lot more to say on it. Load up that show you've been meaning to watch, sit back and get to grinding. Star Wars Tales from the Galaxy's Edge. Dear Diary 3, 0.3%. This is another collectible type one, needing you to find all the collectibles in the game to fill out the journal. Now, I'm not much of a collectible hunter. I very much am quick to pull up a guide and just follow along. It's a bit harder to do that though when you have a big screen attached to your head and you need to remove a headset every time you need to check where the next collectible is. Obviously this is a me issue and most people will, actually look for them themselves, but I'm sure that there's at least one person out there that can empathize with this plight. Star Wars Pinball VR. The Mandalorian, 1.2%. Oh, we're back to pinball, but this time it's beamed directly into your eyes. This is for clearing the story on the Mandalorian table. This is similar to the other pinball trophy. There are little tasks that can trigger on the table that need you to hit certain targets for the most part. There's actually very little info on the internet about what all these are, but I don't imagine they're that different from the other one, other than the fact that you're in VR and it's probably closer to playing an actual pinball table, which I guess is pretty neat if you're into that kind of thing. Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. Power, unlimited power, 1.7%. The biggest LEGO Star Wars game, and I was expecting it to have the rarest trophy of those, but it doesn't. What you need to do for this trophy is max upgrade all the character classes in the game. You upgrade things using Kyber crystals, and to upgrade everything you need to collect at least very nearly almost all of them. There are 1,166 in the game. That's a lot of collecting. There's a good amount in levels for things like finding all the mini-kits or just getting the true Jedi, but the vast majority are in the overworld. This will take a while and will obviously likely be the last thing you manage to do, but it's another one where I don't have a lot to say on it. As I said, this is one of the biggest LEGO games, counting all of them, not just Star Wars, so it'll probably take you many hours to 100% it for all the crystals. I found guides estimating 100 hours, which is significantly more than every other LEGO game I've played. Eventually though, you'll have enough for all the upgrades and the trophy. Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Splurgle, 4.3%. This needs you to buy all of Doma's merchandise. This is not a case of credits, what he accepts are priorite shards, which, if you didn't know, are basically a collectible. There's 100 in the game and you need all of them to buy everything for the trophy, meaning that really this trophy is a collectible hunting trophy. Guides certainly exist, and maybe this says a lot about me, but 100 really doesn't seem that many. I think I might have been doing this whole platinuming trophy hunting thing for too long. Star Wars Outlaws. First Voyage, 0.8%. Finally, we're at the end with the most recently released Star Wars game. This final trophy comes from its DLC, needing you to complete a contract with the Refractor. After beating the DLC, you can get a contract from Gen Chukar. Any contract will do, and then complete that contract with this ship here, the Refractor. Seems really simple, honestly, but I guess not everyone got the DLC, or finished it, or did anything after finishing it. There's a lot of reasons this could be the rarest, to be honest. And that is the video. How many of these have you got? Did I miss any? I really hope I didn't. Let me know all that and more in the comments, and while you're down there, why not subscribe? It's free, helps me out, and gives you easier access to my videos, both old and new. They're all achievement and trophy related, so you might even find something you like. I didn't realize just how many Star Wars games there are. They were really pumping these out in like the mid-2000s, and that's not even considering all the games that aren't on this list because they don't have achievements. Like, I remember I had a side-scroller on the GBA as a kid. Really difficult as well. Thank you for watching to the end of the video. For now though, I'm off on them troves, and I'll see you next time.